Well, welcome to week 14, and I'm providing a reflection on week 13. I want to start out by acknowledging the transformation your forum posts have undergone from those very early posts in September. Do you remember some of those early posts that were kind of all over the place and not really edited, so lots of kind of mechanical errors and not really focused, and well, no more. Your posts are focused and thoughtful and articulate, and you're very very good at sharing your particular own life experiences and being responsive and compassionate to one another, and acknowledging one another. And so I just want to give you that feedback and let you know how delighted I am. Clearly, you have developed a lot of skill in engaging in the distributed learning context, and I know that you may have had a huge dose of forum discussions in your various classes this year, and you know, you may be a little sick of them at this point, but on the other hand, you've become very good at creating community and sparking each other's thinking and challenging each other to expand and broaden your ideas, and it's quite wonderful. So in terms of overall themes, in our conversation this week, generally I have to say that altogether your ideas it could easily be put together as a very effective training for social workers who are working with families with chronic illness and disabilities. So you should be aware of what a powerful thinking and designing machine you all are together. It was really very impressive, and I'll try to reflect some of those themes. One thing that Maris, you pointed out, was the importance of understanding historical context. And of course this is true for any family. In the case of working with Native families, the psychological and physical symptoms that many communities and families and individuals experience are very often the sequelae or the result of generations of attempted genocide. And that's very difficult when you have had thriving cultures, you know, some 600 cultures across the U.S., everyone with, you know, different beliefs and practices and languages and ways of living, but all of whom found had established over millennia ways of taking care of families, of family members, and then you're cut off from your language, from your culture, often your land and your resources are appropriated. You may be moved to land that is far from home. Families may be separated. And, you know, if that happened to your family, you can understand how it would be very hard to be healthy under those circumstances. But nonetheless, the amazing thing about human resilience is that many communities are reaching back into their traditions and recapturing threads of meaning and practices and cultural traditions and weaving them into contemporary context to create well-being and mindfulness and healing in communities. It's just a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. On the other hand, there's a lot of suffering going on, and one case in point is a community called the Pima Maricopa community that is just south of Phoenix, Arizona. That used to be a thriving ranching and farming community. The Salt River ran right through the middle of the community, and the community was all along both sides of the river, the beautiful mountains on the south and rich farmland on the north. And then Phoenix came along, and as Phoenix started to populate, the folks in Phoenix saw fit to drain the Salt River. It's now a dry riverbed, and in that community is the largest prosthetics clinic in the world, related to how much diabetes there is in that community. You know, once colonization starts, it also never ends, and people are still feeling reverberating shock waves of those very initial twisted encounters with Europeans. Chin pointed out the importance of understanding the cultural context of families with whom you're working. Chin, for your mother, for example, it would be very important to understand her beliefs and what frightens her, what offends her, what seems to give her a sense of calm, and you know, as a social worker, it doesn't make any difference whether those beliefs make any sense to you. It's not your belief system to even, it's not your right to even touch that. Because it's the person's world, and you're trying to facilitate for them. Another example is a young person I knew in northern Arizona. I'm making a video. I'll be out in a second.
Okay.
Hello, Ed. And anyway, her mother was very ill, and so there were these two sides of the family, and one was Edda, thanks a lot, and the other was Navajo. And the decision that they were trying to deal with was whether to remove life support from the family member. And a huge conflict started within the family related to differing beliefs. On one side, it was just a horrible thing that you could even contemplate removing life support. And on another side, that was a compassionate thing to do. But on top of that, on both sides, talking about death was taboo, just like in your family, Chin. So that complicated the situation considerably. Somebody pointed out the importance of understanding family dynamics. For example, if there are two sides of the family that have been estranged from one another, a social worker needs to know that in thinking about who might be useful caregivers. Several of you pointed out that it's important to understand that within a given family there may be several different perspectives on chronic illness and disability, as with your schizophrenic brother or brother with schizophrenia who's rejected in family gatherings, and thank goodness you're there to be present for him, and somebody's description also of the importance of a social worker understanding the multi-generational impact of alcoholism on the family. Several people pointed out the importance of looking for, recognizing, respecting family strengths. A great example was respecting Grandma's desire not to ask for help and cleaning her house sort of surreptitiously, not asking, just going and doing it. Several people talked about the importance of support for family caregivers, and being respectful rather than dismissive of the elders and the person with the illness. A terrible example of which is the all too common practice of talking to family members instead of talking to the person who's right there. I love that example of the mom who insisted that she be present in every conversation related to her, whether or not she could respond. That was awesome. I have a story related to that. I don't know if I've mentioned that I'm the albino adoptee of a Taos Pueblo family. Anyway, my grandpa is dying in the hospital bed, and my grandma and I are standing there next to his bed. This is in Taos, New Mexico. And somebody from the records office comes up and comes into the room and hands me a clipboard and says, there are a few things for you to fill out. And I said, well, the patient is right there in the bed. And she said, does he speak English? And I said, well, let me see, he's 94, and in order to survive in this dominant culture, he's had to speak English for at least 90 of those years. So I think maybe the best thing for you to do would be to ask him. You know, homicide is so messy, so sometimes you just have to reason with people. Several people pointed out the importance of not making assumptions. And that is so critical. So there you have it, the ideal training for social workers. I think y'all should have a party, put it together, and take your show on the road. And welcome to week 14.